It's going to be challenging and long journey because even for a lot of the U.S. semiconductor companies, their destiny are still in this TSMC and UMC, the Taiwanese chip makers, their hand. Because if you look at the key players, Apple, Google, Amazon, Qualcomm, NVIDIA, AMD, all these U.S. semiconductor companies or technology companies, most of their chips, if not 100%, could be about 90% are manufactured by TSMC or Taiwanese chip makers. So it's going to be a challenging and long journey for them to diversify away. And thinking about how long it takes for the chip development and collaboration, it's going to take a while.
Do you think SMIC will have a role to play in this reconfigured scenario where the U.S. is trying to shore up its chip supplies? And you're talking about how the U.S. could extend an equipment license to SMIC. How much would that change the equation to your mind?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a two separate ecosystem being developed more obviously in the next 5 to 10 years, i.e. that the U.S. is going to build its own ecosystem as possible. China was going to build its ecosystem as possible, and SMIC are going to be the center. Intel going to be the center for the U.S. So, which means that it's going to be very separated. So there's no chance for the SMIC, in my opinion, to make most of the chips for the U.S. companies going forward. On the other hand, is opportunity will be lies in the domestic and localization in China. And speaking of the license extension, we think that it will going to be a partial approval from the U.S. government side that some of the legacy mature technology nodes equipment at 14 nanometers above will likely to be given license partially, given that's less national security sensitive. But for those cutting edge technology at 10 nanometers below, we think the chance is pretty low for the SMIC or China to get those equipment in the next 4 or 5 years.
So therefore, Sebastian, how realistic is it, do you think, China has for its goal of being competing shoulder to shoulder, head to head with the likes of TSMC and Intel? Do you think that its goal of having a next generation chip technology and industry on the global stage is going to be realizable, and in how many years?
What I can share with you is that so far the technological gap between SMIC and TSMC, which is the world #1 today, is about 6 years. So there's a 6 years of technological gap right now. And this is based on the fact that the equipment sanction hasn't really put too much effect yet. What if we factor in this part in the next 5 years, let's say in 5 years time, if SMIC cannot get those leading technology equipment and cannot develop this leading technology 5 years from now, while TSMC, Intel can continue to do so, I think the gap will be further widened to 7, 8, even 9 years, 5 years down the road. So which means that it's not only cannot catch up, but the gap will further be widened.